speech. It is great to talk to you. And one of the big reasons why for me is, of course, a massive fan of you and the group's music.
Thank you.
But more importantly, I know you wouldn't remember this, and I was looking for it. You and I did a one-on-one interview almost 20 years ago when you came to Toronto. You were at my radio station. We were sitting in a booth. We did the interview. We snapped a picture. And hopefully, when this interview is up online, I'll be able to find that picture because I want to put it up there.
That'd
So
be fantastic, man.
yeah, so we've done a couple of interviews over the phone, but most of them have been the one had been in person, and now we're doing this in the new world Zoom. Thank you so much for doing this interview, my friend.
Thank you very much, brother Rudy. I appreciate it, man. It's good to talk to you again. I always love talking to my peoples in Canada, Toronto. It's like always a pleasure. So it's good vibe.
Usually when I start this off, I ask about how things have been going in 2020 and 2021. But for me, in order to do that, would literally go into the music that you've released. So I'm
Yeah.
going to switch it up just a little bit. I am going to talk about and ask how things are going with you for 2021, but it was more on mental health and dealing with this COVID, I should say, COVID-19 virus.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. A lot of different phases. For me personally, the first phase was just hunkering down and not touring, and I'm not used to that. And the second phase was really just trying to appreciate home life. I live in the country, so buying for the first time, I've lived in my house for almost 30 years. I bought a riding mower and started cutting my own grass. And I know that sounds bougie, but I didn't cut my grass for 20 odd years. So getting my own riding mower, cutting my own grass, which was extremely therapeutic for me. And that's when I actually started writing the Arrested Development album, Don't Fight Your Demons. And also just spending a lot of time with my kids, my wife. So it was just a really good spiritual time in that sense. And at the same time, sorry to be so long-winded about this,
No, no, it's
but I
fine.
lost friends. I've lost friends from COVID-19. And that, of course, is extremely tough. And it's been very emotional.
It's the same thing on my end too. I've lost friends also from this horrible virus, but having your music out there and artists like yourself doing what you're doing, it does give us comfort to get through this time. When you think about the legacy, yourself and the rest of the band members of Arrested Development, and I just wanted to make sure I wrote down the songs, of course. People Every Day, Mr. Wendell, Tennessee, Revolution from Malcolm X. When you think about those songs and the fact that at that time you changed the way hip hop was viewed because not a lot of people were looking at the conscious spirit of hip hop. How do
Yeah.
you feel that you helped create that legacy that still resonates today? And when people want to learn the measuring stick or stand next to it, is with your music.
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. That's a really big compliment. And, for me, brother, personally, I set out to try to literally put my hands on the boundaries of hip hop and push it like this so that we could get a little wider, so that we can get more of the voices of the Black community in, more of the voices of the Black diaspora in. And my intentions was to do that. To do that was a dream come true. And hopefully, to those that listen to the music, I'm still able to play a role and be in that kind of voice. That's what I always wanted to do.
There was a consciousness that was going on back then.
Yeah.
We have it now in a whole different form, but it's still there. What were your thoughts now going back to what we saw during 2020 and a little bit of 2021? Black Lives Matter standing out the way it did.
Yeah.
Of course, just recently in Washington, the Capitol being overrun, the presidency election that was happening during that time too. All these things that we're seeing. What were your thoughts in seeing this? And were you thinking back to when you were creating the music that you were creating then for that consciousness?
Well, brother, first of all, you have to you have to realize how disheartening it is to even have these same issues. And we all used to dream back in the 70s and 80s about what 2000 would be. we thought we'd be flying around in spaceships and, sort of like the Jetsons. And here we are in reality in 2021, and we're still dealing with some of the exact same issues that men and women, mainly Black, of course, 80% Black, and then beautiful souls from many other communities we're dealing with us back in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, and even the 1800s. So, I mean, these are very disheartening realities that are sticking with us that shouldn't be here. We really should not be dealing with these issues. And the fact that we are is disheartening. And of course, at the same time, I'm proud of each new generation as they get in this fight. And I hope they see the continuum so that they continue to fight for, the freedoms that we all deserve. But yeah, it's a lot of disheartening parts to it too when you've lived this long and you're still fighting some of the same fights.
Your fight is through music from time to time. You did it with this. Talk about this new single that you put together, because this really is a reflection of what has happened in the last 13 months.
Yeah. So this single, A Different World, really at the end of the day is an empowering single to remind us about the power of hip hop. And just on real brief, I want to hit on that because hip hop is, I believe, still the number one genre in the world. It was for quite a while. And I've traveled the world. Hip hop is so powerful. People are listening to it, they're into it. So we have a chance as artists in particular to reach people in ways that, to be quite honest, even the news channels can't do and religion can't do. We have an opportunity to do some great things. So that's the empowering part of the message. The part of the sobering part of the message is the attack on Washington, D.C.'s Capitol on January 6th, and how many racial undertones were part of that entire attack. So just reminding people about it, meaning the racial undertones, the disparities, the hypocrisy, and trying to really shake the system and shake the people to shake the system about these hypocrisies and disparities.
So, how did it form for you? Were you like a lot of us watching the news, watching all of these things happening as it progressed? And did the words and the music and the melodies start to come to you as you watch this?
It was blowing my mind, Rudy. I tell you the truth, brother, because it's one thing for marches in the streets. It's another thing even for rioting and looting stores and stuff like that. It's a whole nother, and I mean, when I say whole nother, it's apples and oranges when someone is rioting the capital of the United States. That is way more of a symbolic movement than any types of riots in the streets or random lootings of random stores. And then the second thing is, it's while Congress was in there to complete the ceremony of this new election and Biden becoming the president of the United States. That is, now that goes to the level of not just unique, but trying to overthrow the United States government. So there's really literally no similarities between what happened with numerous people that were rioting throughout the ages and this what happened on January 6th. This is a whole nother thing. So yes, to answer your question as to how it moved me creatively, I knew that this was an explosive thing happening in our midst. It's a historical moment, and I wanted to write about it in real time. So I just went in the studio that night. First, I did a YouTube video, and it didn't connect to me. It wasn't enough of what the pain I was feeling, and I wanted to write a song and put it out for more of a everlasting sort of statement about this issue.
So, you write this song for the rest of us. How did you explain it to your children, though, for what they're seeing? I mean, I still remember, uh, back in the day, waking up in the middle of the night, going downstairs as my dad is watching the race riots and
Yeah,
him trying to explain to me what I'm seeing. How did
yeah,
you explain to your children in this day in seeing what they're seeing? Because it's not just, um, attack on Black people. Now
yeah,
it's, and I'll use the term, white people attacking white people now.
yeah, yeah. I agree. My kids are 26 and 23. So all of my parenting and the race issues has been done for this long of a time so that they understood what was going on and the racial undertones of what was going on. And even with the fact that it was whites attacking whites and threatening, not just threatening, hanging nooses and promising that they would hang if they were able to capture him. The vice president at the time, Pence, they were going to hang or kill or torture Nancy Pelosi and numerous others. These are the things that they said blatantly on camera, showing, my kids and just that this is a undertone of America is not supposed to be represented except for white people. And this is what they believe. I'm not saying all white people believe this, but this is what these people were fighting for. They were fighting for an America to be what they remember it to be in the past. And that was less of a diverse America, and especially diversity being represented, less of that being represented in this country. And they see a huge change and they don't want that to happen. So yeah, they're willing to even fight their own. And I've often said, and I think I said it in the song A Different World, that it's like a civil war.
Very much so. With A Different World, what follows is an album. What's going on? Album or EP? What's connected with this?
Yeah, so it's an album that I did called Expansion. And to me, during the last 4 or 5 years, I've been, and many people, most people I know actually, have been in such a state of haze and fear and just wondering what is going to happen next. When leadership is not righteous, the people groan. And this is a scripture in the Old Testament of the Bible. And I've groaned for literally more than 4 years now. And I think many, many millions and millions and millions of people have been in that same boat. And so now we have another opportunity. And it's not just because it's Biden. I think anybody almost would have made for a fresh opportunity. And this album is to represent that. It's called Expansion, where we have been constricted. Many of us, at least, have been constricted, and we feel like it's time to expand. And that's what this record's about.
So here you are, you have your solo project, but Arrested Development is still going on strong. First, how has the group members changed over the years? Because I've seen pictures and it does look different.
Yeah. I'm the only original member in Arrested Development. And yet, and this is what some fans know who have followed us closely, and other fans are still learning, the members that are with me, JJ Boogie, One Love, Tasha, Farida, they've all been with me for over 15 to 20 years. One Love, 20 years, the rest of them about 15 years. So they've been with me for quite a long time. They feel like band members to me, but of course, people that's only aware of our first album would say, well, who are they? You know what I mean? So it's an interesting dynamic. It happens to a lot of groups. It's definitely happened to Arrested Development. So yeah, so that's the member lineup now.
And we have a new album with them too. I don't know how you made time for all this. I know you said, stepping back from not touring, but still, that's a lot of great music to be putting together and putting out. What's the new album for Arrested Development, and how does that represent who you are at this stage of your career?
Honestly, it's my favorite record Arrested Development has done since the first debut, 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days in the life of. I love it so much, bro. And it's so, I'm so proud of this music. To me, it's an opus of hip hop. And a lot of people are extremely surprised, which is, sort of a backhanded compliment when people tell me they're so surprised how great they think the record is. But I'm happy about it at the end of the day that people love it, because that's what you make this music for. You really want people to connect with it. And so it's been on numerous lists for best album of 2020, so on and so forth. So I'm just really excited about this trajectory. And I'm really trying to just, as a producer and rhymer in the group, I'm just trying to up my game, brother. I've been doing this for 30 years. And so people acknowledging that my game has indeed been upped is a compliment, and I'm grateful for it.
What is B-Boy? Is that a magazine? What is that exactly?
Yeah, B-Boy Document is a magazine. So B-Boys obviously is from the breakdancing days. It's basically a true hip hopper. But B-Boy Document is one of the few hip hop magazines that's still in print. Most people have gone digital for numerous financial reasons. They've stayed with print and they're old school with it. And I'm on the cover of that.
What was that like to see yourself on the cover?
It felt great, man. It was nostalgic for me because, again, not most stuff has covers anymore. So, it's blogs or, podcasts, or like we're doing now, Zoom interviews, different things, but there's very little covers anymore in hip hop. And so just to be on the covers is fantastic. And for that music and a great story. I mean, they did a really nice spread on the music. So all of it was very detailed. I was just proud, just really proud. It felt like what an artist should feel like when fans enjoy the music.
Stories are still being told. 16 bars is part of that story. What is
Yeah.
that exactly?
I went into a jail in Richmond, Virginia, and brought a film crew with me, Resident Films out of New York. And we stayed there for 10 days and filmed me making music with the inmates, which I call them residents. And it was one of the most powerful events. And in fact, it's online. People can see it right now. And it's on Sundance as of this weekend. So
Wow.
we've got numerous awards, but Sundance just takes it to the level that is beyond. And I'm really, really, really encouraged by it. It's a moving film. It's going to give you a magnifying glass into the world of incarceration, the cycles, the drug abuse, and yet the music and the passion and the dreams of these men. So it's amazing.
Is there also an Arrested Development documentary being put together right now as we speak?
Well, that's funny you asked that, brother, because there's a few different people that have done documentaries on us that they're working on it. So I don't know which ones will come first. But in the meantime, I'm working on a scripted film about Arrested Development with a
Okay.
partner of mine. And she's the one that knows what she's doing. And I'm just telling the story. And it's really, really exciting for me. We've been working on it for about 5 years, though. So it's been a thing that's been in progress.
How will that compare to the Unsung documentary? I watched it about a year ago
Yeah.
and I thought they did a great job, but you know how it is. Sometimes things can be taken out of context and whatever. How true is that documentary, Unsung, to what Arrested Development did go through in changing our, band members and,
Yeah.
the highs and lows and what it is to be like in the industry at that time?
Well, I mean, obviously, it had some truth to it, but I was so disappointed about that documentary. I love Unsung, so I was watching Unsung religiously, and in fact, one of my favorite bands, Heatwave, did an Unsung, and I know the members, the living members, and so I called one of them and I said, "Bro, can you connect me with Unsung? Because I would love them to do one on Arrested Development." And so we connected. They wanted to do one. We did one. And I poured my heart into that thing, and so did the rest of the members, but they sort of went the sensationalism route on our episode. So it made it one of the highest viewed episodes of Unsung History, which is a blessing, I guess. Um, it's a blessing under the guise of like all publicity is good publicity, you know what I mean? But it was one of those things where I was deeply hurt by how it's portrayed in that episode. So if people want to see T, go to that episode. They definitely focus on a lot of T and not a lot of what we actually are about as a group and what we do and have done. You know what I'm saying? So that's my view, but I'm obviously connected to it in a very personal way. So there you go.
Okay. I'm just curious about one thing because I know we're going to have to wrap this up. I remember in our first interview, one of the things that we talked about, and you've talked about this many a time, is your wardrobe and how you still feel like you're the outsider when it comes to your wardrobe. I've
Yeah.
seen pictures of you taking pictures of yourself with clothing in your closet. Has the closet improved, if I can say that? How is the fashion sense going these days?
To be quite honest with you, it has been I think better. Like I feel like people sort of relate to how I dress better, but they just gotta wait because as soon as I lose a little bit more weight, I'm going all in, bro. It's crazy.
I know how you feel. I'm waiting for the gyms here in Toronto to open up so I can get right back in. Um,
Exactly.
two other things very quickly. Number one, Mr. Wendell, the
Yeah.
where did that
Yeah.
come from?
You know what is funny about that is I finished the song and I felt like it's such a commercial gym and I like that fact about it. But I felt like something radical or something I don't know, just shocking needed to happen in that song. And I love Prince. And if you know Prince's music, there's times like in Darling Nikki and other songs where he just screams at the top of his lungs. And I did that at the top just to shake it up a little bit and not make it as if I literally was just trying to make a pop hit or something. And that's why I did that. Yeah.
How do you want your legacy and Arrested Development's legacy to be viewed in the next 100 years or so when we're gone, but the music remains?
That's a great question, bro. You know, I'll be honest with you. I hope that people know we cared and that the music was a reflection of that love. The love for the people, the love for freedom, the love for goodness and justice. I hope that that matters in the years to come, and that as people put a mirror up to these times, they can see our consistency. They can see, you know, wow, this group on the other hand was doing X, Y, and Z while everyone else was, or most everyone else was doing, you know, A, B, and C. So I just hope that that shows, and that's it. If we get love in that way, that would make me a very happy dead person, I guess.
And what
100
advice can
years
you
from
give
now.
us? What advice can you give us right now as we are trying to get through 2021? Some of us didn't survive 2020, as we talked about earlier. The rest of us are trying to get through 2021, and we're still seeing certain things, as I like to say, a bleed from 2020.
It's
What
true.
advice can you give us to get through, to hopefully we can see that light at the end of the tunnel?
My advice is, you guys, man, just treasure your life. I mean, all of us, any one of us are susceptible to this disease and this virus, I should say. And you know, I'm right here, I'm talking to you live and direct. I could be gone soon because of this. And so I say that to say, if everything you do is for you to live, then that's as much as you can possibly do. Do that. Wear the mask, social distance, do the things that we can control. And the reason I say that is that some people are not going to make it and haven't made it. And this is well, we all hope that this is a temporary disease. It doesn't have to take us out. So that's why I'm quarantining. I'm striving to do the best I can. And my prayers and my actions have been just to stay safe, man. Take it seriously. Don't rush to get outside and party with everybody. Take your time, and let's get through this thing so we can be like we are at this very point, alive. Let's just stay alive.
And just curious, what's your favorite mask to wear?
I have a particular mask I wear literally every day when I go out, at least, and it's a handmade mask. I don't have it with me right now. I have like a little black one in my studio because when I record some people here every once in a while, and we wear masks. Well, I wear a mask the entire time, and if they're recording, they'll take it off for the recording. But I have a particular mask, and I think my wife got me that mask.
Oh,
It's
wow.
nice. It's like a little cloth mask, and it doesn't have any words on it though. It's just a little. It almost looks like a picnic cloth type of look, which
Oh,
is not
nice.
really cool, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
literally, I think I've got like 30 masks now, and I'm still building up
Oh,
on that.
really?
So yeah, yeah,
Do you have words on yours? Like,
I've got no, now I'm getting musical notes. Those are the next ones I'm getting, or a microphone or something like that.
nice,
So
nice.
Amazon, thank you very much. That's what I say.
Yeah,
Social media,
that's
where do
right.
we go to follow you?
Go to brotherspeech.com or go to arresteddevelopmentmusic.com. And then all my social media handles are at speech underscore underscore.
Speech, this is the honest to God's truth. I am still playing your music in my vehicle, and I
Thank you,
will
man.
continue to be playing your music for as long as I'm breathing. Thank you so much for the interview. Thank you so much for what you and the rest of the band has done in music. And thank you so much for what you continually do in keeping that conscious alive. Thank you again for this interview.
I appreciate it, Rudy. It was a pleasure, for real.
Cross fingers the next time it'll be on in person. Hopefully it'll be like a 20th anniversary and doing interviews
That's
with
right.
each other.
That's right, man. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Really.
Uh, all right. Take care. Be blessed. Talk soon.
Peace.